Okay, hang on, I'm not gonna,
Is that good there?
yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. As you know, any loss, really for anybody, as our community, whoever it may be, is difficult. Certainly a loss of a police officer is. I got a call about 2:02 this morning saying that one of my police officers was involved in an accident off duty in Illinois traveling home, and that he was struggling and fighting for his life. And, you know, as bad of a phone call as that is, I was optimistic. I was happy that Officer Ellis was fighting for his life, but I received a call not long after that, almost immediately, that he had succumbed to his injuries. Officer James Ellis, we call him Mitch, was 49 years old. He joined our police department in 2011. He worked in the 3rd Precinct, the 2nd Precinct, and most recently in the 8th Precinct, our Jennings Precinct, commanded by Captain Cox. He was a valued member of the police department, and I guess more than anything else, I would want you to know that really his life was emblematic of service. Officer Ellis joined the Marines in the mid-1990s. He served 4 years of active duty, and he got out, and he worked like a lot of us would do, but after 9/11, he felt a calling, and he went back to the Marine Reserves. In 2004, he was called to Iraq. I was advised he served in the Anbar province. Came back, still felt that calling, that call to service, and joined the police department in 2011, where he could continue that service. As you know, perhaps as you have seen, he leaves behind a wife and 5 children. These type of incidents are always difficult. Many of us in this room were able to be with the family very early this morning when they learned of their husbands and fathers' death. So it's tough. It's tough for the police officers here that work with Mitch. It's tough for the chief of police, the captain, whoever it may be. We don't want to lose our department family. And I would tell you that, you know, when you take a look at and you talk to people after things like this happen, you know, you'll run into officers that say, hey, I worked with Mitch in the 3rd or the 2nd or wherever it was. You know, even while he was here, not only did he make a difference every day in the lives of the people that he served here in St. Louis County, he received a life-saving award regarding CPR, so he wasn't, you know, afraid to dive into action, and he will be remarkably missed. I can take a few questions. I will say that I will not be able to comment in any specificity regarding the crash investigation. That is the responsibility of the Illinois State Police, and I feel like that it is important enough to make sure that there is no information out there that would have to be deconflicted later. So any questions that you may have regarding that, I will have to respectfully decline to answer them at this point, but I would offer that you contact the Illinois State Police, who is in charge of this investigation. Before I answer any questions, I would like to introduce our county executive, Dr. Sam Page, should he have any remarks.
I don't really have anything to add. This is a sad day for St. Louis County and for Officer Ellis's family. We ask that you respect their privacy. I've asked that Flag Fly at half staff to recognize the loss in our family, and it's a very sad day for us.
Thank you, Doctor. Anybody?
Chief, just you alluded to it there, the emotions for your department and trying to digest these things that happen in an instant and have a wide-ranging effect. Clearly, it's with a beloved officer by many throughout the St. Louis County Police Force.
You know, it's tough for everybody. It's tough for the police department. You know, like I already said, it doesn't matter if you're the chief or a coworker or whatever it is. But, you know, I think also it resonates within our community. You know, I've had a lot of people reach out to me today, that some of them perhaps that you don't always hear from, that are sending their condolences, and they certainly want us to know that. And I think that speaks to the regard that folks have for for our law enforcement professionals, and certainly people such as Mitch, because they make a difference. And so, you know, these are tragedies. There's not a bright side to it, you know that. But we have to work through it. And as I've said before, we can't stop. So there's always a job to do 24/7, and the officers will keep doing it, but we should recognize that these officers are human, and we need to reach out to them also and make sure that they're okay as they deal with the death of a loved one as they go right back to work.
You gave us his resume basically. Tell us something about Mitch Ellis that will let people know who he was.
I think I probably already said it. When you've already done 4 years in the service and 9/11 happens and you've already done your time, and you can look at anybody and tell them that you've already done it, but then choose to re-enlist as a reserve, knowing full well you could be deployed, and in fact that happens, right? That speaks to character, that speaks to integrity, that speaks to service. And then after that, you know, joining the police department, this can be a tough job, as you know, from time to time. So I think that really speaks to it. And this is not always an easy environment to work in, but Mitch chose to do it, and he chose to do it well.
Chief Post-Dispatch has a picture of him from 5 years ago. He was the officer of the fourth quarter in the Central Precinct. So I guess that says a lot about the high standards that he lived up to.
I was there that day, you know, those luncheons, so I remember that. And it's nice for officers to be recognized, but it also speaks to the fact that out of perhaps 75 police officers in that precinct, that he was chosen as somebody within that year that would be one of the top 4. So that speaks to his work ethic and his integrity and things such as that. So I'm proud of that.
What about his family? What kind of support will there be for them?
So, you know, those are things that we're looking for. You know, we're talking internally about where we are with that, what we can do with it. We're reaching out to other stakeholder organizations and having those type of conversations right now. But, you know, it's one of those things to where we will move heaven and earth to do everything we possibly can to continue to support Mitch's family. Take a couple more questions, if there are any. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for your thoughts and prayers.